I'm the first person in class today, although think I'm a little too early. Then again, sitting alone for 20 minutes sure beats having to suffer that time with Kenji. That combination of fatigue, frustration, and boredom starts making me feel very tired. I black out for a second, waking up when my head hits the surface of my desk. Rubbing my forehead, I realize this is a good reason as to stay up for now, and stop coming to class so early later. Eventually, I hear a tapping noise outside in the hallway as Lily's tall figure appears in the doorway. She's not in this class, so she must have come for other business. Maybe she's looking for Hanako. Lily stops at the door, looking hesitant, as if she was a vampire who can't come in unless invited. I consider doing so because she looks rather lonesome standing there. She steps in on her own accord after straightening her skirt and shirt collar as if it was some kind of importance to look prim when entering the classroom. "Excuse me," she calls into the quiet classroom with a probing, delicate voice. I realize the silence might unnerve her because of her blindness, so I break it. "Good morning, Lily." "Miss Howe? Good morning. I didn't hear you come in." I wonder if she thinks it's suspicious that I didn't say anything to her before. It's likely. If I were to tell a big lie now, it would sink me. Well, I was already here, just asleep until now. "Oh, have you seen Hanako today, by any chance?" "No, she seems to come in only just before the bells ring. Or after that. Do you want me to tell her something for you?" "No, it's fine. It's strange, but I think we're the only two people in the school right now. I didn't hear anyone else on my way here. I shouldn't have gotten up so early today, I guess." "You're chastising yourself for doing something that other people should? But punctuality is a good thing, I think so, anyway. It's a very busy morning today. The festival is coming up soon, and today is the deadline for the event registration, budget reports, and other official paperwork. It could be that everyone's trying to complete the necessary forms at the last minute. Maybe that's why it's so quiet today." "Hi, hi!" Oh, fuck. Misha pops into the classroom with Shizune as if on cue, shouting with a loudness that makes Lily visibly flinch. "Hi, Hichan." "Hi." "Look, it's the class representative. Hello." Lily smiles, probably amused by Misha or Shizune's use of the word look. "Good morning." "Of course you're not the representative of this class, right?" "Right?" Jesus, Misha. "I'm not." Lily seems a little more guarded in her answers to Shizune than she was with me the other day. I guess they really don't get along at all. Then I realize that Lily might not actually know Shizune is present, and she's trying to detect whether or not she is to know who she's talking to. For all she knows, she's talking to Misha, but knowing that she and Shizune are practically inseparable, she might not expect Shizune being on one of that actually talks. Damn, how complicated. I decide to help Lily out for my own peace of mind more than anything else. "You're here early, Shizune." "You were here even earlier than us." Misha puffs out her cheeks angrily. Why is she getting angry? Does she feel our emotions on Shizune's behalf too? It's not that weird, though, that Shizune didn't like my little comment. It's true I was here earlier than them, so me saying something like that could definitely be misinterpreted as anything. Especially to Shizune, who doesn't have the benefit of hearing tone to gauge intent. Before I can start weighing whether or not I should apologize, Shizune has already moved on. Why am I getting a call? Hello? That was weird. Okay. Class rep, it's a good thing you're here. We have to talk. The festival's coming up in 3 days, right? Every other class has already handed in their projected budget reports for their events. Even the first years, except you. There's still time to hand it in, isn't there? Today. The deadline is today. You're certainly taking your time, aren't you? If I had it my way, I'd have all these necessary paperwork days ago, but someone had to say the deadline, please extend it. Yes, that was me. Planning on something this scale is not a small task, and a week is too small a time frame for... Whoa, why did I say it like that? And a week is too small a time frame to expect a whole class to work out such a complex issue completely. Do you want to know what's harder than distributing the funds for one's class event? Handling the same matter of every class in the school, and then some. The one who has to do that is me. Misha puts her hands on her hips and then stands up straight. Wow, she is really getting into the role. Lily doesn't look like she's very amused, though. Hey, Shizune, aren't you being a little too hard on her? There's still a whole day left. Please, Isao, it's alright. Lily seems happy I'm taking her side, but a bit conflicted as I might not think she can take care of herself. If this is about the budget, then I'm disappointed that you think I've forgotten about it. I understand how important it is. Then, can I have it, please? Shizune, she might not have it on her at this exact second. It's not that here right now. I have 2 students to take care of it for me. Students from my class. She emphasizes that the last sentence, much to my surprise. She knows about Shizune and Misha's efforts to rope me into the student council. Wait, what? How does that have to do with the student council? I've asked 2 students to take care of it for me, students from my class. She emphasizes the last sentence, much to my surprise. She knows about Shizune and Amishi's efforts to rope me into the student council. I don't know how that corresponds, but that's fine. I guess word must have gotten around, so now she's using me as ammo against Shizune. This just gets better and better. What? What does she say? I don't get it. I asked 2 students to take care of it for me, students from my class. I don't get it, okay? It was your responsibility. A budget report isn't something that you should be delegating anyway. As a class rep, it's your job to be on top of things. This kind of disregard for proper procedure is just terrible. They completed it, being capable of doing so, but the students have been sick recently, so they could not come to school and give it back to me. If you want, I will apologize on their behalf for getting sick. Okay. Although Misha misses Lily's little jab entirely, Shizune doesn't, and she seems torn between being offended by Lily's daring and jumping for joy at the prospect of a challenge. Lily, don't they live here at the school? That's a 5-minute walk, you know. What could they possibly have that prevents them from taking 5 minutes out of their busy lives to drop off something that will affect their enjoyment of their entire class? Lily opens her mouth to say something, but Shizune closes the gap between them and starts signing furiously, waving her hands around like an orchestra conductor. Misha tries her best to convey the same passion, but can't seem to lose her normal cheerful tone. The result is something interesting and somewhat surreal. And what's with the attitude? I said that it's I said that it's not something you should be delegating anyway. Away. Are you the class representative or aren't you? Tell me the names of the 2 students. They should have your job if you can't even handle something simple yourself. One form isn't the full extent of what I'm supposed to take care of. Lily's tone is growing slightly impatient, but she is doing a good job of not letting Shizune see how unsettled she's becoming. She's playing her cards close to her chest. Shizune, on the other hand, wraps her fingers cheerfully around the edge of her glasses, knowing Lily can neither hear nor see how excited she is. Of course you do so much, class rep. It must be so difficult being you. Lily tightens her lips at Misha's words, clearly understanding the intent behind them, even though Misha delivers them without even a hint of sarcasm, which they were meant to have. Shizune and Lily don't like each other. That much is clear, but this seems a little much, and it seems Lily has had enough and was ready to push back. I love this scene. It looks so good. I was actually just discussing the budget report before you came by. You must be very talented to have finished all your student council duties so quickly that you can track me down just to make sure I don't forget my own. Are you accusing me of slacking off? It seems that you're confusing me with yourself. I don't think so. That would be a very difficult thing for me to do, comparing myself to you. You're right, the difference between us is like heaven and hell. And it's not that hard to guess which one you might represent. Damn. The air between them ripples with the heat of the enmity. Well, not really. They can't disguise it anymore, though. Even Misha looks like she's beginning to understand the real nature of this conversation. This is crazy. Back to reality. Chan, don't you slack off either. What are you talking about? Aren't you taking part in the festival, Hichan? You are, aren't you? Then I hope you're going to do a lot more to make sure it goes smoothly than this person. I don't understand why Shizune's suddenly getting mad at me. Oh, God. Don't drag me into this. I've done my part. What was my part? Just getting art supplies for them? I mean, this is a weird option because it feels like this is like the split between like Lily and Shizune. Do I have to start picking sides? Because I It's hard, right? Because I think like the cutest girl by far is like Shizune and Rin. Like those are my two favorites as far as the way they look. But and like I guess personality wise, Shizune's pretty far up there. But I, as like a combo, I don't like Shizune and Misha. I really love Lily and Hanako. So I think I'm gonna ask them to cut me some slack. Right? I don't know, because this seems like a split between those two. But like if I were to pick like Emmy or Rin, I don't know which way to go. I know I said before there's gonna be. This isn't some I want to pick this person. It's what would I do? So what would I do? To drag me into this, I've done my part. Cut me and Lily some slack. I think I would probably go with cut me and Lily some slack, because these two have been very brash this entire time, and Lily's been very like accommodating to me. Hey, I'm the new guy, remember? It's not like I could have done much even if I wanted. That's right. You shouldn't expect a transfer student to jump right into his own first week. Lily taking my side feels oddly comforting, so I decide to back her up too. Yeah, you're being unreasonable with us both. Excuses, excuses. Miss Class Rep has had plenty of time to deal with her report. And we repeatedly offended you a position... God, offered you a position to help with the student council work, but you refused to commit yourself to making the festival a success. Yeah, but as I said back then, I'm not sure if I don't have time for this right now. What do you mean, you're in class? What else do you have time for? No matter what I do, it'll be being drawn into a confrontation with Shizune. And that's what she wants. Whatever, forget it. I turned my back at them. Damn. Lily, class is going to be starting soon, so we can talk more later. I'll tell Hanako you were looking for her. I could tell Shizune's freezing. Maybe this is because the first time she's ever been ignored in such a blunt manner. Damn. Thank you, Sao. I'll leave now then. She gives me the sweetest smile I've seen all week and turns her head to heels to make her exit. I'm not going to ask. As soon as Lily walks out the door, I suddenly start feeling reluctant about turning to face Shizune. I can feel her eyes burning into my back, and I can't bring myself to look at her. She must be furious. I keep expecting Misha to say something to alleviate the tension, but it really is wanting too much. In the end, I go back to my seat and listen to the sound of Shizune's footsteps as she marches out of the room. She doesn't return until a few minutes before class. I feel so bad. I feel really bad. She's so pissed. What's this? Hanako doesn't come to morning classes at all, leaving her seat looking empty and lonely in the back of the classroom. I have to tell her that Lily's looking for her if I see her later. After the events of this morning, class is pretty boring in comparison. I turn the pages of my textbook lazily. I have a bit of catching up to do. Despite trying to keep up with my studies at the hospital, I'm not feeling that enthusiastic about it. The clock in front of the room sounds unbearably loud. The teacher hasn't said anything over 17 minutes, instead of opting to cover the board in rows and rows of equations taken directly out from the book. The rhythmic clashing of chalk on the blackboard seems to synchronize perfectly with the ticking of the clock. I start to copy down the equations just to pass the time, even though they are right there in the textbook. That was a weird timing. When the bell rings, I'm not in a hurry because I have nothing to do, so I stay for a while, reviewing what we covered in class today. I prefer to leave last anyway, so I don't have to deal with the crowding in the hallways. I notice Shizune and Misha have also stayed behind, talking to someone from another class. Shizune is signing so fast her hands making noises like swords cutting through the air. Maybe there is pent-up anger in there. Misha's trying desperately to keep up, but it's clear she can barely manage to even understand her. I put my head down. Whatever they're discussing looks like serious business. Shizune signs to the point where her wrists crackle, and Misha struggles to spit it out in word form. Sometimes she even trips over herself like she's dealing with tongue twisters, and then on top of that, she has to sign back at anything the other girl says. Seems like a rough job. Misha looks tired, like she's about to faint. Luckily for her, their business is soon finished, and the girls sit down in their seats again. I'm so tired. She's hanging her head limply on her desk, looking exhausted. I'll use the opportunity to reconcile with Shizune a bit, without getting roped into the student council thing again, though I suspect that door is closed now for me. Festival preparations must be tough for you. Indeed, the people in this school seem to be taking the festival very seriously. Whenever I see people idling around before and after, they're always talking about plans for it. It's kind of neat to see everyone being so enthusiastic about it. I'm probably the only one who doesn't have something to do. Shizune scoffs at me at first, as if trying to decide whether to ignore or sneer at me, but in the end she starts signing without doing either. Misha perks up, looking at her hands with slightly unfocused eyes. She signs with harsh and heavy dramatic strokes. Misha translates her signing into speech for me. She does it so well, it's like Shizune is actually speaking, transmitting her thoughts directly through Misha. She must have practiced it vigorously. Well, of course, we're in the student council, you know, so we're pretty busy. It's an important duty of ours to ensure the success of this festival with all our strength. We would be ashamed. What? We would shame ourselves in front of the past student council generations if the festival were to fail. That's why there must be no flaws. No, I think that was encumbrances? No, nothing that would make the festival so short of perfect. Shizune's passionate speech and Misha's enacting are oddly fitting of them. Oh, hello. Hanako. I look over my shoulder and see Hanako peering timidly into the classroom, most of her body hidden behind the door. Hey, playing delinquent again? Hanako blushes hard at Misha's straightforward jab, even if it was only in jest. She's so sad. Shizune stares at her probingly, causing Hanako to look down and start backing away, at the point where only her fingers can be seen wrapped nervously around the edge of the door. Maybe she's showing her dislike of Hanako by association of her dislike of Lily. It appears so, and Hanako probably knows it all as well. What is it, Hanako? Has Lily been here? Sorry, haven't seen Sato. She, came by in the morning, though. Hanako keeps looking uneasily at Shizune, who stares back at her with unusual studying gaze. What is she trying to do? Of course, Shizune isn't going to look away, and she is intimidating enough as it is, so I can only imagine how terrified Hanako would be. It is uncomfortable watching Hanako's reaction to Shizune's normal behavior. This is what happens when two people of two different extremes meet, it seems. Do you know where she is? If she has any sense in her head, she's in her classroom, working on the festival project. But who knows where that woman is loitering at? Damn. You need to find her? She was looking for you in the morning, but I guess you must have missed each other. She waits a little without answering to the simple question, looking awfully like she's not sure it's proper to answer such a question. Yeah. I can come with you, if it's okay. Hanako nods fractionally, still on guard, her shoulders stiff like wood. I get the feeling that she might be more comfortable by herself after all, but it's too late to back off now. She has this really troubled expression she seems to wear almost constantly. One that makes me constantly be on guard myself. I wonder why. Kind of understand. She's always seemed so wary, or maybe like why there could be a person like her. But I still have no idea how I should act to such a person. It's dinner time soon. Were you planning to eat with Lily? She nods slightly. Oh, so she must have been trying to get into the cafeteria. Well, there's something of a dinner crowd, just like the cafeteria is crowding during lunch. It's not as bad, because dinner time is longer than lunch hour. I can understand why Hanako would be so discouraged from going in. I pick up my bag and we take our leave. Hanako skips a little to meet my initial pace, so I slow down to match her speed.